In this video, we will learn how to integrate MongoDB in Spring Boot application, and we will look into how to how the Spring Boot will provide us support to integrate with the MongoDB. Alright, so again we will develop a CRUD REST APIs using Spring Boot and we store all the data into MongoDB. So first I would like to give an overview of MongoDB. That is what is MongoDB and the MongoDB terminologies. And I would like to give you an idea how to install MongoDB on Windows 10 machine. And I will show you how to start the MongoDB server and how to start the MongoDB cell. And then we'll see how to implement this tutorial. All right, let's get started. So as probably you know that MongoDB is one of the document-oriented NoSQL database designed for easy development and scaling. Alright, and MongoDB is open source document database and it's one of the leading NoSQL database right now. And MongoDB is written in C++. Okay, so MongoDB stores a data records as a BSON document. So BSON is a binary representation of JSON document. Okay, and so look at here. This is the convenient mapping for relational databases with MongoDB. So look at here the diagram. So collections in MongoDB are equivalent to the tables in RDBMS, and documents in a MongoDB is equivalent to rows in a RDBMS, and fields in a MongoDB are equivalent to columns in RDBMS. All right. So this is a convenient mapping for relational database with the MongoDB. Alright, so I hope you got idea about the MongoDB. So if you want to know more about the MongoDB, then you can just visit the MongoDB official documentation where they have explained all about MongoDB. Alright, now let's quickly have a look into the MongoDB installation on Windows 10 machine. So we are developing this example on Windows, so I would like to show you how to install MongoDB on Windows 10. So there are pretty simple steps to install MongoDB. So first we need to download a MongoDB zip package from the official MongoDB download page, and we install the MongoDB. That is, we unzip the MongoDB zip package and we create a data directory structure, and we run the MongoDB server, and then we run the MongoDB client. All right, so pretty simple steps we need to follow. All right, let me show you these steps and let's go ahead and let's install MongoDB on Windows 10. So the first step is downloading a MongoDB zip package from the official website. So look at here, this is a MongoDB download center community page, and here you can see from this page we can download the MongoDB zip package. Alright, so look at here the version. So keep this current release as it is and select the operating system here. So we are using Windows 64-bit, so let's choose a Windows 64. And here are the two options. One is MSI installer and one more is a zip. So let us choose a zip package and hit download button. So this will download a MongoDB zip package on a local machine. Alright, so I have already so MongoDB zip package is downloaded on local machine. So what you can do, you can just unzip it and you can keep this MongoDB zip package on any of your file system. All right. So once we unzip it, what we can do, we can just go to the bin folder, and here you can see there are two executable files. One is MongoD and another is Mongo. So MongoD is for a MongoD executable file is used to run the MongoDB server, and Mongo command or Mongo executable file is used to run the Mongo cell. All right, what we'll do, we'll just double click on this MongoD. It will start a MongoDB server. All right, so look at here the MongoDB database server is running. So how to make sure that the MongoDB server is running? So let me show you how to make sure that. So here you can see the sentence waiting for connections on port 27017. So it means that MongoDB database server is up and running on default for 27017. Alright. Now what we will do, we will run a MongoDB cell. So as I mentioned, Mongo executable file, it will run a MongoDB cell. So let's go ahead and let's double click on it. So it's a exe file, so it will open in a command prompt like this. Now the Mongo cell is up and running. All right. So what we have done, we have downloaded the MongoDB zip file from the official website. We have unzipped it, and we moved to the bin package, and we have started MongoDB database server, and we have also started MongoDB cell. So that completes our installation. Now let's have a look into the next step. So the implementation part. So here are the two options for implementing this Spring Boot MongoDB code example tutorial. So either you can use an article. So this is the write-up tutorial that I have written and published on my website. Either you can use this tutorial to develop this tutorial from the scratch, step by step. Either you can, next option is you can use a GitHub repository. So I have hosted the source code of this tutorial on my GitHub repository. So what we can do is we can just download the GitHub repository from GitHub repo, and we can import in Eclipse STSID, and we can have a look at the source code and the application flow, and we will understand the source code, and then we'll run the application and we'll see the demo. All right. So these are the two options. Either you can, either one you can just implement it. So just let me go through the write-up tutorial that I have published on my website. Yeah, so here we go. This is the write-up tutorial that I have created and published on my website recently. So here are the development steps. So I really like this development steps section because it outlines all the steps that we want to implement in this tutorial. So first we need to create a Spring Boot application. Next we need to add all the maven dependencies. Next we need to create a project structure or packaging structure. Next we create next we need to configure MongoDB database in Spring Boot application. Next we create employee model. Next we create employee repository. Next we create REST APIs in an employee controller. Next we'll implement exception handling in REST web services. Next we will run the Spring Boot application and we test the REST APIs using Postman clients. So these are the steps we are going to perform in this tutorial. Alright, so as I mentioned, you have two options. You can either use this write-up tutorial to implement this tutorial, and the another option is you can just download the source code of this tutorial from the GitHub repository. So I always choose a second option because implementing this tutorial takes a lot of time, because step by step it requires a lot of time. So this tutorial I have implemented, and the source code is already there on a GitHub repository. So what we can do, we can just download the source code and we can import in Eclipse IDE, and we can just walk through the source code and we'll have the demo. So this way we can complete this tutorial as soon as possible. So I don't want to take much of your time. So I will try to keep this video tutorial as short as possible, because uh, watching lengthy video is quite boring. Alright, so just let's move to the GitHub repository. So at the end of this tutorial, I have given a link here. So just click on this link. This will navigate you to the GitHub repo. Alright, so you can just clone or download this repository. So notice here in this video we are just developing the REST APIs and we are exposing the REST APIs. But in next video I will be creating Angular web application which will consume the REST APIs that we are going to expose in this video. Alright, and so before downloading this repository, let me give you one more point here. So in this tutorial we will also implement a sequential auto-generated field for MongoDB in Spring Boot application. So So you have already used Spring Data GPA, right? So we use add generated value annotation in order to create or in order to mention a primary key generation strategy. But in MongoDB, there is no such kind of annotations available. Hence, we need to provide our own implementation to generate auto-generate field for primary key in MongoDB. So this implementation also I am going to explain you. So I have written a source code for this. All right. So I will explain you all the things. Okay. So just go to the repository again and just clone this repository or download as a zip file and unzip it and just import in Eclipse STSID. So let me switch to the Eclipse IDE and let us see. So here I am in a Eclipse STSID, that is Spring Tool Suite, and here I have imported a GitHub repo in Eclipse STSID. Alright, now what we will do, we will walk through the source code and we will understand the application flow. So first we will understand what are the dependencies that we have added. So look at here, we have added only two dependencies. Alright, so this Spring Boot starter test dependency is not required because we are not writing any test cases. Spring Boot provides this starter dependency to minimize a lot of configuration. All right, and look at here, we need to only add the Spring Boot starter data MongoDB dependency, and Spring Boot will configure all the configurations that are related to integrate MongoDB with Spring Boot. So Spring Boot will take care of all the things. We don't need to manually write the code in order to integrate MongoDB in Spring Boot application. All right, and look at here MongoDB starter web dependency. So this dependency we require to develop our REST APIs. All right, REST APIs in Spring Boot. Okay, so this is all about the dependencies that we require, and look at the Spring Boot version. So we are using 2.1.0 release. This is the latest release of Spring Boot as of now. All right, now let's have a look into the model. So look at here, there are two models. One is employee and another is data sequence. All right, so as I mentioned, data sequence model, we are creating to auto generate values to the primary key for MongoDB documents. Okay, so in MongoDB, documents are kind of a JSON object. So MongoDB don't provide any primary keys. MongoDB will basically provide the default ID that I will show you later. But in order to maintain our own primary keys, we need to generate auto-generated fields. All right. So for that, we are maintaining this model, and the collection name is database underscore sequence. Look at here, we are using add document annotation. All right. So this annotation identifies the domain object to be persisted to the MongoDB database. All right, and look at the ID annotation. So this ID annotation, just the identifier for this ID. Right, and look at here, this employee model. It's pretty simple. So this is a simple Java class. It has ID, post name, last name, and email fields. And here we are providing add document annotation to identify this is the domain model, and which we can map to the which we can persist to the MongoDB database. And here a few more annotations we are using. We are using at index annotation in order to mark this field as an index field using MongoDB's indexing feature. Again, we are indexing for email ID as well. It's pretty simple, nothing fancy. And look at here, we are using add transient annotation. So this transient annotation we are just using because we no need to add this field in a document, that is in a MongoDB document. That's why we are just excluding this field from the MongoDB document by using add transient annotation. It's pretty simple models. Next, let's have a look into the employee repository. So in case of Spring Data JPA, we use a JPA repository, right? But in case of MongoDB, we need to extend. So we need to create a interface which extends a Mongo repository. So Mongo repository again, look at here. It internally extends the paging and sorting repositories, and paging and sorting repository internally extends CRUD repository. It means that Mongo repository, it has all the CRUD database of CRUD methods that are required to interact with the database. Okay, so the JP repository which exposes all the methods, same methods which are available in Mongo repository as well, because Mongo repository internally implements or extends all the repository interface that are used by JP repository, right? Great. Now just we extend the Mongo repository and we pass the model class here, and this is the primary key type, and we are again annotate this with add repository annotation. Great. Now let's have a look into the service. So as I mentioned, we are creating our custom auto generated field. So look at here, we need to first create a class, and let's mark it as a service by using add service annotation. And we need to auto wire Mongo operations, and Mongo operations object provides a find and modify method, and we can use this, and we can get a ID value, and we can update in our database sequence class or a model. Okay, that we have seen. Great. Now let's have a look into the controller. So this is an employee controller. It exposes CRUD REST APIs for employee entity. So it's pretty simple employee controller which exposes CRUD REST APIs for employee entity. So visit my previous Spring Boot REST API videos where I have given a step-by-step explanation how to create a REST API using Spring Boot. Alright, so pretty simple. So look at here, we are just we have created an employee controller class which annotated with add REST controller and add request mapping annotation, and we are giving a path here on top of Spring MSU controller, and here we are auto wiring employee repository and sequence generator service. And look at here, this is a REST API to fetch all the employees. All right, so and look at here, get employee by ID. So this REST API will return a particular employee by ID, and here is a REST API to save employee data, and this REST API will handle a post HTTP request, and this REST API will handle put HTTP request, and this will basically for updating the employee, and this REST API will basically handles HTTP delete request, and this will delete an employee by ID. Pretty simple REST API is developed using Spring Boot. Alright, so next have a look into the exception handling in the REST API. So we need to handle the exceptions whenever the exception or error will occur in application, right? So look at here, we have created a custom exception, that is resource not found exception, which extends the exception, and here we are provided add response status annotation. So this annotation marks a method or exception class with the status code and reason that should be returned. So here we have given a status that is not found. Okay, so REST API will return this exception with status not found. And this is a global exception handler. So here we are using Spring MSC provided add controller advise annotation to handle the global exceptions as well as a particular exception. For example, here we are handling resource not found exception by using add exception handler. So here we will create a error detail object, and we return that object to the client. And here we basically handle all the exceptions that are except this not resource not found exception, and all the global exceptions are handled here because Look at here exceptions. So this is the base class of all the custom exceptions. All right, it's pretty simple. Now, so far we have gone through all the source code and we understood the source code. Now let's have a look at the application.properties file. So look at here, we need to provide a MongoDB URL like this, localhost, port, and name of the database. All right. So you need to remember two steps in order to integrate MongoDB with Spring Boot application. So first is you need to add a starter dependency, that is Spring Boot starter data MongoDB dependency. Next is you need to provide a MongoDB URL like this, localhost, port, and name of the database. So these are the two important steps you need to remember. And next is while creating a model, you need to use annotations from this package, MongoDB package. All right, that's all. Only 2 to 3 steps you need to remember. Otherwise, the rest of the steps are same as we implement in typical Spring Boot applications. Great. Now what we'll do, we'll run the Spring Boot application and we'll test the REST APIs and we'll see how the data will be stored in MongoDB database, and we'll see I will query to the MongoDB database and we will see the data. All right. So this is the application class. Just this is the main entry point of our Spring Boot application. Just right click and run as a Java application. So this will run a Spring Boot application in embedded Tomcat server on port 8080. Yeah, look at here. All right, now let's go ahead and let's create a database in MongoDB server. So we have already MongoDB cell here. Now let's check the databases that are present in a MongoDB. Just type the command show DBS. It will list out all the databases. Now we have already employed DB database. Now what we'll do, we'll create a new database. Let's type the command just give a database name as employee database and hit enter. So this will create a new database and it will sync to the current database. All right, just copy this database name and let's stop the server and go to the application.properties and here just paste here. Now we are pointing to the employee database. Alright, let's go ahead and let's run the Spring Boot application again. Okay, great. Now what we'll do, we'll test all the REST APIs using Postman client. Alright, open the Postman client. So here I have already opened. Now what we'll do, we'll just we post we'll send a post request and we'll store the employee record in MongoDB database. So this is the simple JSON that we are going to send through post HTTP client, and Spring Boot will handle this request and it will store this data in a MongoDB database. Just hit send button. Yeah, here we go. So notice the notice the response. All right. So data will be successfully stored in a MongoDB database, and REST API has written a response like this with ID 1. All right. Now what we'll do, we'll query to the database and we will see the data in a database. So just type the command db to see the current database. So let's check the collection that we have created, that is employee. So look at here in employee collection, we have just inserted this user Ramesh, right? Great. Now we have seen how to insert a data that is an employee record using a Spring REST API, and we have also seen how the data have inserted in MongoDB database by using MongoDB cell. All right. Now let us see how to update a data. So let us change from post to port here, and here we pass one and just change port name from Ramesh to Ram, and email ID from Ramesh to Ram like this, and just hit send button. Yeah, here we go. So the data is successfully updated and we got the success response. And look at here, the post name is updated and email ID is also updated. Let us verify in a MongoDB cell. So look at here, the post name is Ram and email ID is ram@gmail.com. Alright, so two fields are get updated. Now let us see how to get the record from the database. Yeah, here we go. So we just send the get request and we got the response. Alright, now let's go ahead and let's insert a few more records. Now hit send button. Oops. What is the mistake here? Yeah, we need to remove this ID. So look at the ID generated like it is in a sequence. So the post record we were inserted that was written ID1, and here just we inserted a second record, the ID is 2. Alright, so this is how the the auto generated fields will generating the IDs in a sequence. Now we'll test the get all employees API. Yeah, here we go. We got a 2 records. And let us test, let's use a delete now. Let us delete post record. Yeah, here we go. We got a deleted true. It means that the record is deleted from the database. And let's verify it. Yeah, here we go. The first record is deleted and we have a second record in a database. Alright, look at here how the document looks in a collection. Alright, this is how we typically develop a Spring Boot application with MongoDB. Alright, so let me summarize what are the topics we have discussed or we have implemented in this tutorial. So we looked into the MongoDB overview, that is what is MongoDB and what is the difference between MongoDB and the RDBMS, and we have looked into how to install MongoDB zip package on a Windows machine, and we have also looked into how to start the MongoDB server, MongoDB cell, and then we have implemented MongoDB. Uh, uh, we have implemented Spring Boot MongoDB CRUD example tutorial. So we have just downloaded a source code from GitHub repository, and we have imported in Eclipse STSID, and we have gone through the source code and we understood all the source code. And there are only two steps that are important to remember. One is to add the MongoDB starter dependency and configure MongoDB database link in application.properties. And then we run the Spring Boot application, and we tested all the Spring Boot REST APIs using Postman class, and we have also confirmed all the data in a MongoDB database using MongoDB cell. Alright, so all these concepts we have learned in this tutorial. I hope you grab the concepts of MongoDB and how to integrate MongoDB in Spring Boot application. Alright, so let me know if you have any questions about this tutorial in the comment section. I will be happy to help you out. Alright, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. So subscribe to our YouTube channel so that whenever I will publish any videos on my YouTube channel, you will get updated. Alright, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.